Hello. This sequence is going to be restorative yoga for knee pain specifically, but with lots of work into the legs and into the hips so that we can really try to attack whatever might be causing us some discomfort at the knees kind of from all angles. What's going to be helpful today is definitely a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, something like that. A block or a heavy book, something like that, and then either a yoga strap or what I'm using here is a scarf. So have all three of these things handy, maybe even a second block or a second book, just so you can get super comfy. And then we'll get started. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do to start is come into a comfortable cross-legged seat. This is called easy pose. So I'm going to bring my right ankle on top. Okay? So palms are going to come to the knees. Kind of waddle back and forth so you can really ground the sit bones down into your mat. Feel really tall in your spine. Perfect. All right, we'll take an inhale. On your exhale, start to press into your knees as you ease forward. Now keep this pressure on your knees and then start to ease the torso back. So we're pressing into the knees as we ease the chest back just a little bit. These are small movements. Nice, big inhale. Exhale, lean forward, press into the knees. And on your next inhale, start to lean back. Yeah, cool. So really right now we're just feeling into our legs, feeling into our hips, seeing what's going on. So we'll exhale forward again. On your inhale, you're going to rock over towards the right and then come all the way back. Exhale, we'll go towards the left and come forward. Inhale to the right and back. Exhale to the left and forward. Inhale to the right and back. Exhale all to the left and forward. Let's inhale, come back up nice and central. Cool. So stay up top if this is serving you well, or take a nice inhale. Exhale, start to bring your palms down in front of you. I've got mine nice and tinted up. I'm just going to start to crawl forward till I feel a nice stretch for myself. Probably in the hips, maybe in the low back a little bit. Make sure this is feeling kind, right? Especially to the legs and the knees. Nice deep breath. One more breath here. And we'll inhale, start to walk our hands back in. Yeah, perfect. Cool. All right, let's swap out the legs. So now I'm going to bring my left ankle on top. Cool. Yeah, so let's do the same thing. Keep your hips grounded, but press into the knees, lean forward. Oh yeah, I'm feeling that in the left hip. Keep that pressure on the knees as you start to inhale, lean back. We'll come forward. Press into the knees. Keep the pressure as you inhale back. Cool. All right, let's come forward. Inhale, we're going to rock the torso over to the left and back. Exhale, over to the right and forward. Inhale, left and back. Exhale, right and forward. Inhale, left and back. Exhale, right and forward. Awesome. And inhale, we'll come back up to center. All right, inhale here, root into the hips. Exhale, tint the palms, bring the fingertips forward, start to crawl your way into whatever fold feels good. So for me, this left side's definitely tighter in my left hip and in my left quads, my left knee. So I'm probably not going to fold quite as far as on my other side. Nice big deep breaths. Find a sustainable place, right? Okay, we'll inhale and start to crawl our way back up. Awesome. All right, from here, let's just extend both legs long along the mat. Cool. Windshield wiper the feet back and forth. We're mobilizing the hip joint here. Yeah. All right. Cool. So we're gonna roll out a lot of the muscles that we're focusing on today first, and then we're gonna stretch into them. Yeah. So if this is helpful to you, let's start with the quads. So you're gonna get your lacrosse ball and your block or book for this. All right. I'm gonna start on my right leg. I'm going to bring my lacrosse ball right on top of my thigh. So those quads, imagine that they're all the way from the top of your knee, all the way up to where you just kind of feel your hip joint start. Like if you were to dig your thumb into that hip crease and then rotate your feet back and forth. Yeah, where you're feeling a kickback all the way down to the top of the knee. That's where we want to work right now. So we'll bring the lacrosse ball. I'm going to just right on top of the middle of my thigh. And then we'll bring the block on top of that. So starting to lean into it. With the help of this block, I now can just move this lacrosse ball all around. I can add or subtract as much pressure as I want. If I'm going from left to right, I can really feel those quads strum beneath me. And I might make my way towards my knee. I might make my way towards my hip. I might try going long ways, right? Going forward and back. Oh, that actually feels really intense and great. Might work towards the inner thigh. It's a little hard to get into the adductors here. I'll give us another opportunity to get into those with the lacrosse ball a little bit later on. But yeah, just play around. See what's helpful. Going out towards the IT band or those lateral quads. See what's going on out there. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so stay here as long as you'd like. If you're feeling that knee pain, kind of at the top of the knee, hang out a little bit longer towards where those quads are attaching up there towards the knee. That might help a little bit of relief there. All right, we'll swap on over to the other side. Same deal. And of course, with anything else, just stay longer where you need to stay longer. And I might spend a little bit less time on the second side of each of these just so that you have all your tools in your toolbox and then you can choose where to invest your time, right? That way you don't have to just sit and watch me in case you want to just be working on your right leg, you know. Cool, yeah. Interesting noticing the difference between the left and right side. Cool. Okay, so those are our quads. Let's try the hamstrings a little bit. So the hamstrings are tough to roll into with the lacrosse ball, especially in a seated position, but that's what we're going to attempt to do. What we're going to do is bring the lacrosse ball onto where the hamstrings meet the pelvis. So you're actually going to bring them, essentially you'll bring this lacrosse ball so it's like right under your glutes. You see that? Yeah, so as you sit down, your glutes should be fairly comfortably on the mat. And then we'll just kind of roll that thigh. So I've got, my hips are lifted, my palms are on the ground, so I can lift my hips just a smidge. So I can just kind of roll back and forth. You can feel the hamstring attachments strum under that lacrosse ball. And you might play around until you find it. If the hamstrings are feeling tight today, then this might feel intense. Yeah. Cool. And you're welcome to kind of move that lacrosse ball along the hamstrings. It's just, they're a little bit of a deeper muscle, so it's a little harder to get nice, good deep work there. You can increase intensity by maybe crossing a leg, add some weight onto that lacrosse ball. In the past, I like to bring a block and then the lacrosse ball on top of that, and then my hamstrings. That helps me access them a little bit more. Gives it a little bit of a sharper edge to get into. So feel free to play with that. see what's going on there. And then we'll switch on over to the left leg. So first we'll start the hamstring attachments. Yeah, and sometimes it's going to be a little more obvious than others. And generally that's just if that side's giving you more grief, right? Just kind of strumming along. Yeah, so you know your sits bones, right? Those are your ischial tuberosities is what they're called. That's why in yoga they call them your sits bones. And that's where your hamstring's attached to. So that's what we're trying to strum right on. So you'll kind of feel your sit bone, and we're going to be just south of that. Cool. And if you want, you might opt for that block lacrosse ball combo under the thigh. Get a little more work into the hammies. Don't worry, they'll get plenty of stretch in. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Nice. And then let's try getting into our TFL, our tensa fascia lata. So we'll start on the right side. Hey, let's actually revisit this. Jam your thumb into that crease in your hip, right? Rotate your foot back and forth. And then kind of jam the thumb rather than in the front middle of the hip. Bring it out to the side just a little bit. Still the front, but a little off to the right. You'll feel, yeah, a really strong muscle just kicking back at you, especially when you rotate the foot in. Oh, there's the TFL. There it is. That's where we want this ball. So, find it again. Find that little kicking muscle. Bring the lacrosse ball right on it. Then we're going to lay on our sides. Oh, so we can get a little bit of weight in that lacrosse ball. Awesome. We're just going to hang out. Nice. You might add a little rotation yourself. So our TFL attaches to our IT band, right? And our T band certainly plays a part in the functionality of our knee. So anytime we're trying to address knee issues, again, we want to try and address as much as we can that either attaches within the knee joint or kind of strums over it or behind it in any way. So that's just what we're aiming for here. Cool. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So jam that thumb into the hip crease on the left side, slightly out to the side, rotate the foot around, feel that kick back, especially again when the foot's turned in. We'll bring that lacrosse ball into that little muscle that was kicking us. We'll just lean on it. That's brutal. Cool, I'm going to ease up a little bit here. And then add a little bit of rotation. Yeah, cool. Good job, TFL. TFL, I feel like it doesn't get enough glory for all the good work it does for us. Whew. Oh, that feels productive. Awesome. Cool. Okay, so from here, just a couple more with the lacrosse ball while seated. We're going to bring it under the glutes. Who doesn't love some good hip work? It's just the best. So, to get into it, we're going to start on our right side. That's our theme, right? We'll bend the knees, point the soles of the feet down. My feet are pretty wide here. So I'm going to bring the lacrosse ball just under that right hip. Yeah! So we don't want it on any bony structure. We don't want it right on the joint. We don't want it on our sacrum. We want it in between, right in the belly of those muscles. So find a kind of sweet spot where it feels pretty productive, and then maybe body weight is just where you need to be today. Stay there. Generally what I like to do is play with dropping that right knee out to the right. So that lateral rotation of the hip, we're shortening the piriformis muscle. That's the one that strums across the sacrum to where the femur plugs up into the hip. So from the sacrum and the low back, kind of tailbone area, over to the joint. And then we're going to lengthen it by drawing the knee in. Yeah, and then we'll shorten it. and then we'll lengthen it. All the while, it's being pinned down by that lacrosse ball, and if you're anything like me, it's a fairly intense sensation, but it also feels pretty productive. So play with that. Play with maybe moving the location of the lacrosse ball, maybe bring it back up a little higher. Yeah, see what's most productive. And then we'll swap sides. I could stay there all day, just pinning that piriformis down as we shorten and lengthen. So I'm going to try the same thing on the left side, see what's going on. Okay, yeah. Yeah, awesome. Nice. And there's some other ways you can intensify this, but they're pretty rough on the knees. So I think we're going to keep it like this, knowing you can always make adjustments however you need to, right? Cool. Alright, and then last one, let's roll out the calves a little bit. Especially if we're having knee trouble and it's affecting the way we're walking, the quality of walk and our gait, we're just going to want to release those calves a little bit, because chances are they're doing more work than they usually do. So to start on the right side, we'll bring the lacrosse ball under the calves. Alright, cool. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. Those puppies are usually pretty tight. We make them to do a lot of work. So maybe just rolling left and right. Maybe trying to keep the muscle as relaxed as you can. We're rolling forward and back. And if you want it, you might cross that other ankle right on top. That's going to add quite a bit of intensity. So make sure that's what you're signing up for. Try her out. Oh man, notice if you're feeling it closer to the ankle, closer to the knee, or in my case, just everywhere, just 100% of the calf muscle. Alright, we'll swap sides. We get the idea. Just doing some deep work into these muscles. Again, rolling out, breaking stuff up before we stretch it out. Beautiful. Ugh, love it. So in the future, if you want to kind of revisit this, keep in mind 18 minutes in is when we get to the stretching. Before that is mostly lacrosse ball. Cool. So to start with our seated stretches, we're going to come into that Janu Sirsasana, that sort of hurdler pose, right? I'm going to extend my right leg out at an angle, bring that left foot into the inner right thigh. Kind of waddle back and forth. Make sure you're nice and grounded in the sit bones, in the ischial tuberosities. We'll inhale, lengthen the spine, twist so chest is in line with that right foot. Awesome. Cool. So we're prepping to fold over this right leg. If you want to, go ahead and already recruit that strap. That might be a nice choice, right? We'll just bring the strap to the ball of that right foot. Maybe you're already playing a little bit with some calf stretches, pulling toes back towards us, pointing them away, pulling back towards, pulling them away. Nice big inhale. Exhale. We'll lean with a flat back to start. Find a nice stretch in those hammies. Yes. And once you find that, maybe we round through the spine, relax the head. Another big breath. And we'll come back up to seated. Yeah. Alright, so we'll keep that bent knee exactly where it is, or roughly where it is. We're going to swing our right leg back out to the side, coming into that 90-90 stretch or stag stretch. So we're looking for 90-degree angles everywhere, right? So maybe that left shin is parallel with the front of your mat if you're still on your mat. But we got 90 degrees at the knees, at the hips, at the ankles. Cool. So yeah, theoretically, that front leg is parallel with the front of the mat, and the leg off to the side, the shin is parallel with the side of the mat. So let's just spin a couple breaths here. Work on grounding that right sit bone down. Oh, yeah. Beautiful stuff, isn't it? Cool. So this might help you kind of access the hip flexors, but depending on where you're tight today, this might be working into those calves, working into those adductors. Quads and adductors. All right, we're going to intensify our quad stretch here. So let's start to bring our right heel, that's our foot off to the side, towards our glutes on the right side, and we'll just extend our left leg out in front of us. I'm going to show you this from a couple different angles just so you can see. So we're going to aim to bring our knees fairly close together. Right heel is outside of the right hip. Both hips are nice and comfortable down on the mat. Cool. So we can stay as we are, right? Or if you want to intensify this, and it will intensify it quite a bit, but if your quads need a deeper stretch, one option is to bring a block under your hips. Just like that. Cool. Okay. So I'm actually going to show you from this angle. Yeah, that's the ticket. Alright, cool. So my block is not under me, but if I wanted more of a stretch, I could bring it under me. Right? So I'm going to start to bring my palms back behind me. This might be the stretch I'm looking for in the right quads. I might tuck the tailbone a little bit as you fold the body back. Maybe I hang out in forearms. Maybe I lay back on my back. So half hero's pose is what this puppy is. Yeah, beautiful. Cool. Man, this is such a strange view to look at yourself. It looks like I'm broken. I'm not though. Cool. So hang out here as long as you like, especially if it's feeling very productive. And again, if you fold into it and you're like, this is good, but I need more, come back out of it, slip that block under the hip, and then lay back into it. Nice and slow on the way up. Whew, I'm going to lean hard to the left so I can bring that right leg out. Windshield wiper, feet back and forth. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to do the left side again. This one's not going to be quite as long, so adjust as you need to, right? All right, so left side, let's see. We're going to extend our left leg out long at an angle. Right foot's to inner left thigh. I'm going to grab my strap-a-roni. Inhale. Loop that strap. Oh, rotate the torso. Maybe hug the toes back towards the face. This is nice if you have plantar fasciitis like I do. Really stretch the bottom of the feet. Point the toes, bring them back. Point the toes, bring them back. Oh, yeah. And when you're ready, go ahead and exhale. Start with a long spine. And then fold. Do, 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 do. Cool. So if you're feeling this more in the low back than the hamstrings, try scooching that left hip back. Beautiful. And when we're done, we'll inhale, come back up. Keep our right leg bent the way it is. Let's find our 90-90 stretch. All those 90-degree angles, sister. Check the knees, check the hips, check the ankles. Oh, yeah. Now we're just going to hang out for a little bit. So one thing you can do for sort of active release work here, you can play with lifting that back foot. So we're really, really engaging up at this left hip, and then relax and lean back. So we're engaging, 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 and then we're releasing and stretching. That's something to play with periodically when you're working through this stuff. Always looking for ways to kind of adjust our own therapy, right? How we treat the body. Any changes you can make. If you feel like you're plateauing, if you feel like the stretches aren't getting you where you want them to go, make these little adjustments, right? Usually they're really small and can add quite a bit. All right, let's work into that half heroes pose, yeah? We'll tuck that left heel towards the left hip, extend the right leg forward. I'm going to bring a block under me this time. I'm going to turn so you can kind of see why this is more of a stretch. Because we've got our hips higher, it's just making the quads stretch further, right? So my knees are basically together, reaching back. With that left knee pulling forward, right? There it is. You can see there's more of an arch here. So those left quads just have to reach a little further. Good job, left quads. Just killing it. Let's see if you can tuck that tailbone a little bit. Help you be kind to the low back. Alright, fingers crossed I can get back up out of this. I think I can. I'm pretty confident. Alright, nice and slow. Forearms, then palms. I'll take the block out. Oh, yeah. Lean hard to the right so I can extend my left leg. 2. Windshield wiper feet back and forth, right? Yeah, good job. Okay, now we're going to swing our legs back behind us. We're just going to come into a lunge. We're going to work into our hips a little bit more, hamstrings a little bit more. You'll see. So, let's bring this right foot forward. We can just keep that right knee stacked over the right ankle. Let's bop that left knee back a little bit further. Yeah, so we've got a really long stance here. So chances are this is giving you a really nice stretch on the front of that left hip. It might be helpful to bring a block under either palm here, kind of lift the earth up to meet you a little bit. You're welcome to start lifting up here, maybe clocking that left hip forward. I usually like to stay low. It helps me kind of tune in a little bit better. I'm not worried about stability. Cool. Yeah, so that's really a nice deep access to the left hip flexors, which in turn is going to help us open up the quads, right? We want the front of that hip nice and open, just lengthening that line from knee to hip. All right, we'll take an inhale here. Exhale, let's find half splits and see what happens, right? We'll extend this right leg. And our left thighs just stay perpendicular with our mat. Right toes up towards the ceiling. Hands again, maybe on blocks or on the mat. So I might choose to fold over that straightened leg. Ah, yeah. Maybe I start to drop that right toes out to the left. And then rotate them so they point out to the right. And then go to the left. And then go to the right. Yeah, just back and forth. Exploring my range of motion here in my hip, my ankle. Ugh, awesome. And then we'll fold forward, or we'll bend forward, come back into that nice low lunge. A little hello to the front, or the left hip flexors again. Yeah, and then we'll just swap out our legs, right? So right knee's down, left foot's forward. Let's find our low lunge on this side. Oh, yeah. Cool. So again, wide stance from left heel to right knee. We really want to feel that stretch on the front of the right hip. Cool. Nice long line there. My right hip flexors, man. A lot going on. And then we'll shift the hips back. Oh, yeah. Find those half splits. Yeah, cool. See what you want to do here. Maybe you just stay folded over the straightened leg. Maybe there's a rotation. Oh, toes from one side to the other. Yeah. Nice. Beautiful stuff. Shift that left hip back a little bit. Get into those hamstrings. And we'll bend back into that left knee. Ugh. Gorgeous stuff. And we'll come back to our tabletop. Alright, from here, we're going to tuck our toes under us. Yeah. We're going to stretch out the bottoms of our feet, and then we're going to flirt a little bit with a quad stretch here. So we're going to ease our hips back, and we'll start to walk our palms back as if to come to seated on our heels, but maybe the bottoms of our feet will stop us before we get there. How's that feeling? Cool. Yeah, so if you're just feeling wily, we might start to reach our hands back. Oh, as we stretch those quads. So this might be it. This might be a real nice stretch. If you want to add to it, just engage your glutes, squeeze your butt together. Yes, there it is. It lifts the hips higher again, giving more of an arch, so your quads have to stretch further. Awesome. Big breath. Release the glutes. Oh. And we'll start to walk the palms forward again. Let's tap out the toes. Yeah, cool. And you might flirt a little bit with extending one leg back behind you, tucking the toes, and then kind of pulsing that right heel back and down to stretch out the calves a little. Thanks, calves. Just doing the Lord's work every day, you know. We'll swap legs, tuck the other toes, left heel kind of pulses back and down. Yeah. Beautiful. And then we're going to start to lay on our belly. So kind of prepare yourself for that. Have a block out to the right and have a lacrosse ball handy. All right. So once we're on our bellies, what we're going to do is bend this right knee and then just bring it out to the right, like so. Yeah, a little sidewinder pose. Awesome. And then we're going to bring a block and bring it under the right knee like that. The rest of our body, we're going to work on squaring down towards the mat, bending our elbows, finding cactus arms, and looking to the left. So I'm going to stand so you can see what shape I'm making, laying face down. It's this. That right knee is out to the right, and then you'll bend your elbows. I'll lower them down. Yeah, like that. So what we're looking for, I'm going to change the angle here a little bit so you can see maybe a little bit better. Right knee out to the right. What we're looking for here is a nice lateral stretch of the right hip, but also stretching that inner right thigh, those adductors. The higher your knee is up off the mat, the more space that this right hip has to sink down into, the more you're going to feel it. So keep on stacking books under that right knee if you want more out of this. Otherwise, just keep working on clocking that right hip down. So I love this pose. I could live in this pose. I do sleep in this pose. If you want to do a little bit of deep tissue work to the inner right thigh, always a pleasure, what you can do is bring that lacrosse ball, like I'll show you right here. It's the inner thigh, but it's kind of close to the knee. It's not on the knee, right? Certainly no bony structures, but a little closer to it. So I'm just going to melt my right thigh right on top of that lacrosse ball. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Whew, whew. The adductors are pretty sensitive and they're often tight. So a gentle roll back and forth, you can just strum across anything giving you grief. You can go, oh, kind of out to the side, pull it in, out to the side, pull it in, forward, back, yeah, whatever you need, right? This is intense, y'all. Cool. So, you can always intensify the sidewinder lateral hip stretch, whether there's a lacrosse ball or not, by coming up onto your forearms, continue to square the hips down. That's just going to give you a little more space, a little more weight back into those hips. Yeah? Cool. All right, so from here, let's remove the lacrosse ball if you're still using it. And we're going to peel our way open into a twist. So we still got our right knee out to the right. Very cool. We're going to extend our right arm forward, tent the palm up, come onto your fingertips. You're going to thread your left arm under the right. Oh, and then we'll peel the chest open towards the ceiling. Right arm comes out to the right. I'll adjust my block a little bit as I twist. So a nice twist for the spine, maybe a nice stretch for those right glutes. Just another big deep breath here. Go team. Alright, we're going to come back the way we came, and we'll ease back onto our stomachs. We're going to swap sides. So we'll extend our right leg long back behind us. Actually, before you switch sides, go ahead. You can relax the arms, relax the head. Bend your knees, and then we'll just windshield wiper the feet left and right. Ideally, this is neutralizing our sacrum a little bit after that hard tilt. Yeah, cool. All right, let's bop on over. A lot of bopping. We're just bopping away to the left side. Left knee out to the left. Let's see what's going on. Let's work on squaring that left hip down. My right leg is just relaxed, straight back behind me. Finding my cactus arms, looking over to the right. Stay. Enjoy, love, you deserve it. But if you are a glutton for deep work, punishment, whatever, productivity, maybe is a nice way to think about it, then you'll bring your lacrosse ball again to the inside of that left thigh, maybe a little closer to the knee, right? Not on the knee. Wow, it's way more painful on the left side. Beautiful stuff. Maybe rolling left and right. Maybe rolling forward or back. Strumming across those problem areas. Maybe hanging out doing some trigger point work into any particular spot that's bothering you. Really fun stuff. Yeah, give it another breath. I'm up on my forearms here, giving a little bit more weight back into the hips. Alright, when you're ready to twist it out, team, that's what we're going to do. We're going to reach our left arm forward, tent the palm up, thread right arm under the left, tee open to the left. Chest works to shine up towards the ceiling. Wringing out the low back a little bit. Good job, low back. You do a lot of good work, too. Okay. And when you're ready, we'll leave the way we came, come back onto our bellies. Right? We'll extend that left leg long back behind us. Let's bend the knees, relax the arms, relax the head, windshield wiper feet, Back and forth, neutralize the low back a little bit. Mobilizing the sacrum. Yeah. Go team! Yeah! Alright. And now we are coming on to our backs for our final sequence. Reclined, face up stretches. So make sure you've got your strap handy here. This is definitely one we'll want to. Dun, dun, dun. Nice strap. Cool. Alright. Knees are bent, soles of the feet are on the mat. We'll walk the feet out to the width of the mat. Draw your knees to touch at center. This is really nice and neutral for the low back. You might feel that you took some of that natural curve out of your lumbar spine, flattened it onto the mat here. Yeah. Not only that, but our hip flexors are fully supported. They can relax. If you can afford it, just stay here for like an hour. I think it does a body good. But if not, we'll move on. So, I'm going to let my left leg come long and heavy along my mat. Bring my right knee in. Maybe rotate that ankle around. Yeah. Grab my strap. Loop it around the sole of the right foot as I start to press the right foot up towards the ceiling. So, from here, maybe we just hang out. Oh, yeah, hug that strap in towards you as we stretch the hamstrings, stretching the calves. Start to point the toes up towards the ceiling. Yeah, you might feel that stretch the front of the ankle down into the peroneals here on the outside of your shin. Hug the toes towards your face. Back into the back of our leg, right? Especially into the calves. So point the toes. Bring them back. Yeah. Nice. Okay, then play with shining the arch of your foot up towards the ceiling, right? And then pivot the foot so that the pinky edge goes up towards the ceiling, right? Yeah, I'm going to show it without the strap. Arch goes up, pinky edge goes up. Arch goes up, pinky edge goes up. Yeah, cool. What a cool leg. All right, we'll take an inhale, put both ends of your strap in the right hand. On your exhale, start to let the right leg come out to the right as we stretch into the adductors, the inner thigh of the right side. This might feel awesome, or you might be like, I'm going to need more slack than this. In which case, just bend that left knee, plant the left foot. I like this too, because you can let that left knee fall out to the left for a little bit of a counterweight and get even a deeper stretch. How's that for a life hack for you? Whew. Awesome, nice big breath, maybe playing slightly with the angle that your leg is at, right? I'm pulling it up higher towards my shoulder. I'm bringing it down lower towards that left foot as far as height, right? Just a gentle, small little arch here. It probably looks bigger than it is. And then I'll bring my right knee up towards center, or my right leg up towards center. Cool. So from here, I might extend this left leg long again. I might keep it bent. So we'll take an inhale. Notice that your right hip is planted on your mat. Keep your right hip exactly where it is. Don't let it lift up at all. Maybe even kind of like jam that thumb back into the hip crease to remind yourself. Start to cross the right leg over to the left until you feel a stretch on the outside of your right thigh in that IT band area. I don't have to go very far to find that stretch, right? Well, hang out here. I know it is some tough stuff, but it'll help open up the hammies. It'll help open up those lateral quads. And because we're trying to access the IT band, that means we're trying to access a little bit of influence in the TFL and the glute max, which also attaches to it. Just trying to, hit as many birds with one stone as we can. So, if this is feeling great, stay here. Play with, though, rotating the pinky edge of the right foot up towards the ceiling like we did earlier. So that way we've got that IT band stretch, but then we're pulling it down into the peroneals as well, just bringing it all the way down the leg. What a world, yes! And then we'll come up to center, right? Maybe another hug of the strap. Cool. All right, let's bring that left foot in, and let's let the right leg come long along the mat. Let's see what this left side wants to do, right? A gentle pull of the strap, checking in with hamstrings and calves. Then we'll start to point left toes up towards the ceiling, pull left toes towards the face. That was intense. These calves, man, they do so much. Yeah, toes pointed, toes back. Then we'll bring both straps into the hand. Oh, actually, let's do that pivot of the foot where the pinky edge goes up towards the ceiling, then the arch goes up towards the ceiling. Pinky edge towards the ceiling, arch of the left foot towards the ceiling. Yes. Gorgeous. Then we'll bring both ends of the strap into the left hand. Big inhale. Exhale, left leg opens up out to the left. Nice. Yeah, okay. Left adductors, I hear you. Do. Again, I'm going to bend that right knee so I can use that right knee to come out to the right, a little bit of a counterweight. So you might play with the height of that left foot. See if you can see it. So a little closer to my shoulder, a little further down. A little closer to my shoulder, a little further down. Small movements. Not afraid to invest some time in our muscles. Really finding what angles work for us today. It's always going to change, right? Killing it. Let's bring that left leg up to center. Extend the right leg long if you'd like. And then keep that left hip grounded. Don't let it lift. Start to cross the left leg over to the right till you feel a stretch on the outer upper left thigh. What is up, IT band? Yeah. All right, team. Hang out. Give her some attention. She is the squeaky wheel. And then let's pivot, or at least play with pivoting the pinky edge of the left foot up towards the ceiling. Bring that stretch down to the lower left leg, to the outside of the shin, right? Outside of the lower leg. Awesome. And we'll inhale, come to center. Let's gentle stretch. And we'll bend that left knee. We'll hug both knees in towards the chest, gentle rock. Left and right. Yeah. And I think we deserve a happy baby here. Let's shine the soles of both feet up towards the ceiling, holding on to pinky edges of the feet. Hello. Gentle rocks back and forth. All right, nicely done, hamstrings and quads and calves and hips. We'll hug the knees into the chest, rock back and forth. Yeah, and for good measure, let's plant the left foot on the mat, cross right ankle over left knee. So we've got that figure 4 shape with the legs. Then we'll hug left thigh into the chest as we focus our attention to our right glutes. Maybe rocking left and right. Yes, the hips are so great. They do so much. And if you're feeling sassy, you want a little bit more leg work, let's extend that left foot up towards the ceiling. Oh, maybe we reach for the calf. Who's to say? I'm going to ease my right knee out a little bit more so I can get more into those hips on the right side. Those hips on the right side. Yeah, good job, glutes. Then we'll bend that left knee, plants that left foot back. Let's swap it out. Right foot plants, left ankle crosses. Nice firm left ankle here. I've got my flex feet so I can keep my left knee safe. And then we'll hug that right thigh into the chest. Yeah. Rock back and forth. Just thinking about our left glutes, sending them some love and positivity, everything they do for us all the time. Only sometimes complaining. They're a really strong muscle group. Maybe we extend that right leg. I don't know if this side's gonna want it. Let's try it out, huh? Maybe hug that. Oh, right calf. Yeah, right. Maybe press that left knee out a little bit. Beautiful. Nice big inhale. And exhale. Right knee bends. Left foot plants. Maybe windshield wiper the knees left and right and left and right. And then we'll bring soles of the feet together. Let the knees drop off to the sides. End your practice in Supta Baddha Konasana. Nice big deep breaths, allowing gravity to do all the work here. Gravity eases our knees down towards the mat, opens the hips. All right, you stay here as long as you'd like, team. Thank you so much. I hope this helps. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.